Most tax pros leave a message.
It's Jane. I'm moving on to a TurboTax expert who beat your price. Adam Devine, tell him how I feel.
Hey, tax pro, she's been thinking twice. Best believe TurboTax will beat your price. This is a tax break.
Switch to a TurboTax Live expert and we'll beat what you paid your pro last tax season. Make the switch at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice. TurboTax full service only. Sign up by 12/20/2024 and file by 4/1/2025. Full details at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice.
With Ring cameras and doorbells, it's easy to keep every fright in sight. See who's there. Keep your scaredy cats company.
Oh, it's okay, sweetie. I'll be home soon.
And protect your crypt from the real monsters.
Oh, come on. The sign says take one.
Find dead simple ways to stay connected right now at ring.com.
She started dating one of my brothers.
One of your brothers?
Well, yes.
Okay. Why was that a problem? I don't understand.
Because it was awkward because now she's messing with another brother of mine.
Oh, so she's messing with two people at the same time and they're brothers?
This is the plaintiff, Jerisa Taylor. She says the defendant filed false accusations against her, putting her job as a home health aide in jeopardy. She's suing her for $5,000 because you can't just go around making false allegations against someone without paying the consequences. This is the defendant, Rashonda Vick. She says she and the plaintiff grew up together and were kind of like cousins. The woman's doing everything in her power to ruin her life. She's defamed her. She's harassing her mercilessly. And it's got to stop. She's accused of making things up. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $8,000 for all she's been through.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Milian in our forum, the People's Court.
Yes. People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Milian presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Taylor, you are suing Ms. Vick for $5,000 for false allegations you say she has made against you, and Ms. Vick is counterclaiming you, apparently having realized that the statutory maximum in Florida increased to $8,000. So she's suing you for $8,000. Touche. So let's hear it. Let's start with you, Ms. Taylor.
Hey, me and Rashonda Vick, well, my mother dated her uncle.
Your mother dated her uncle?
Yes.
How long ago?
They've been broken up for, I don't know, over 15 years now.
And how long did they date?
About 20 plus years.
All right. So growing up, did you two have a relationship?
We we hung out, yes, we have. But as in growing up as, you know, in the same household or, you know, being very close like that, no.
Okay, so go on.
With that being said, everything started going south. She started dating one of my brothers.
One of your brothers?
Well, yes.
Okay. Why was that a problem? I don't understand.
Because it was awkward because now she's messing with another brother of mine.
Oh, so she's messing with two people at the same time and they're brothers?
Well, it wasn't at the same time.
But one after the other and they're brothers and it's awkward. Got it.
So we kind of cut communication.
With her?
I cut communication.
Did you cut communication with your brother? The second brother?
I did.
Okay. You did? Okay.
Yeah,
because
it
I just want to know if the men get punished too, that's all. All right, so go on.
I cut communication with him because of the back and forth.
Okay. So tell me what happens that brings you to court on this case.
Okay.
By the way, this isn't the first time you've been to court with the defendant, is it?
No, it is not.
How many times have you been to court with the defendant?
Once before this time right here.
Once?
Yeah.
I think more, because you've each filed restraining orders against the other one, haven't you?
It wasn't me that did it. It was my mother who did it. This is why it's the retaliation that she put my name in this.
All right, let's talk about why you are here. What do you say is the false allegation she made against you?
That I was allegedly, I'm a mentally unstable person, and I'm a stalker, and I cannot be around my son legally by law.
Okay, tell me what happens. This last round of animosity between you two happens because there's
My son is
Your son. Your son you don't have custody of?
No, I gave temporary custody to my mother.
Okay, and what happened? How old's that son?
He's 15.
And what happened?
He was, as a teenager, he was running away. And when we did find out where he was, when he came home, he did admit to us that he was at Rashonda's house.
At her house?
At her house.
And he had been there for how long?
From what we know, he claimed a week or more.
Okay.
And when we questioned him what was going on, he did come out and admit that he was hanging at her house and hanging with her daughter. And at the time, she knew that we do not get along. So for my child to be over there and not me or the grandmother to know.
So she didn't call, was her child at your house, her minor at your house?
Yes, he did come over. He was dropped off with my uncle and cousins and stuff. My uncle called me and asked me, hey, can the boys come over and swim? So when they get dropped off, he was like, I'm gonna pick them up once I get home from work. I said, okay. And then he called me once they arrived. And then I invited everybody in and her son was there. And I was like, oh, wow, I haven't seen you in like years. Like, oh my God, like, okay. But when he came, I didn't say like, your mommy, your grandmother got a problem with me, so
right.
You can't
How long
come
was
swimming.
he at your house?
He was there for a couple hours going swimming.
Well, I'm sorry. Was he there for a week or was he there a couple of hours?
No, he was not. He went swimming. He was at the pool majority.
Right. So he was not at your house for a couple of weeks?
No, that's a lie. That's a lie.
Okay. So go on.
So once we questioned my son and he admitted to where he was.
Did your son state to you that he was there a couple of weeks?
Yes, he was.
All right. And does he say that to the police too, that he was there for a week?
He confessed to the police. He also confessed to anybody that questioned him.
And what was it he said he did there for a week?
He was basically hanging out. They were smoking.
Smoking
marijuana.
What? Okay.
And you know, he wouldn't really go into other details, but I said, so why would you not come home? Or, you know, why didn't somebody call and say that you was over there? Because we've been looking for you.
Well, why didn't he call? Right? Because he's 15.
Right. Like I said, we're dealing with his problems.
Right.
Because he thinks he's grown. So we're actually dealing with those problems. But I don't need somebody enabling these problems either. And then for you.
Well, so according to her uncle dropped him off. Did you ever call the uncle?
Yes, we did.
And what did he say?
I'm the one who spoke with the uncle.
And who are you?
I'm her mother.
You're her mother. So you're the one that dated the uncle?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you call your ex and say to him what?
No, I spoke to my ex-brother-in-law, because it's like we're common law married, because we were together 25 years.
Wait, she says that, because it's not it's not the one you dated, it's his brother that brought the boy over?
Correct.
Got it. So
yes,
you call him and what happens?
I was having issue because he has boys, and I'm female. So whenever I have a conflict with my grandson, he would try to help out to get him back on track because he's a male. So we had the understanding that my grandson was there for about a few weeks so we can try to work out the problem, get him on track.
Oh, so he was gone for a few weeks at the uncle's house?
At the uncle's house.
Okay.
Never supposed to be at her house.
Okay. Well, did you ever talk to the uncle who apparently brought him to her house?
He said he did take him for swimming.
For swimming, just like she says.
Right, but that's it.
All right, so what happens once you get back? Who is the first one who runs to court to do what?
I'm the one who went.
And you went to court to do what?
I did an injunction.
Against her?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And how many times have you been in court as a petitioner for injunctions against different people?
I can't say how many times. Right.
Why not? You should be able to say how many times.
No, ma'am. Because
according to you, you've done a record search.
Yes.
How many times?
About like 30 or so.
Okay.
Yes.
So you file a restraining order against her to leave the boy alone, or you alone, or what?
For my grandson and my family.
Okay, and what happens to that restraining order?
It became final. And then at the
Is it accurate that there's a restraining order for you to stay away from her and I guess the...
Yes, they're the parents, so, you know, they have to say so, but yes, it's active. And
okay, all right. So then what's the next court action you folks have? Who files against who?
She filed against me.
All right, so in retaliation, you file a restraining order against her. And why?
Okay, so what happened was when they put the injunction on me, you know, I was like, okay, why are these people doing this when I never stalked and harassed them? So when I was talking to my friends, they was like, you need to put an injunction on them if they're going this length to try to get you in trouble.
Okay, but I'm curious why you filed it against her and not the one who filed it against you.
I did the mother.
Oh, you did?
I did the mother first.
Oh.
So then, leaving the courthouse, the daughter, Jerisa, sends text messages to Facebook threatening us.
Okay.
And, thought it was funny that, we ran off trying to get away from them. So she sends this on Facebook.
Okay.
So then when she starts doing that, I went and filed an injunction against her because now I already see what type of game she's going to play.
What happens with, did you file one against her?
No. Well, I wanted to, but they dismissed it because they told me to
so
actually
you
take
did
it.
file one, and did they grant the temporary and then dismiss it at the permanent, or they wouldn't even grant the temporary?
They wouldn't even grant it at all because they told me to go a different route.
Which is?
Now it turned into a legal route because now we just found out that my son was at her home and he was shot at. And Rashonda lied to the police about my mother's whereabouts.
I'm sorry. Wait, stop. Was the son shot at in your home?
Okay, so what happened was, I guess they were outside, him and my daughter. His girlfriend and friends live in my neighborhood. So my daughter runs home and was like, Mommy, it was a lady outside with a gun, and she was cussing out all the kids, and she let a round up in the air. So I said, okay, well, I'm gonna have to call the cops, and I let him know, listen, I know I don't talk to your grandmother, but I'm gonna have to notify her because this is important, and whoever did this, they need to be arrested. So they tried to contact them for a few hours. This was
Try to contact who?
The grandmother, Teresa Taylor, because she has custody.
Right.
So they stayed there for a couple hours trying to contact her. She wouldn't answer the calls, the texts, anything like that.
Did you receive a bunch of calls and texts from the cops?
No, ma'am. They said the information she gave them was false, so they could not contact me.
Go on.
He gave their personal information because I don't know any of their information to give.
Right.
And then they was like, well, we can't get a hold of him, so we're going to take him to DCF for our custody, if you don't mind. I said, no, I don't want him to be in the system. I'll just take him. He could spend the night with me.
Okay, so you have a counterclaim against them for $8,000 for defamation and harassment, actually against Ms. Taylor. Tell me what that's about.
Okay, so first came the injunction.
But the injunction was from the mother.
From the mother. It started from the mother. And then I guess, they, on each other's team and try to jeopardize my life. So what they was doing was calling DCF to my house. So I was getting calls like every week saying that I'm doing drugs in front of the kids. I'm doing mollies. I'm giving the grandson mollies and stuff like that.
Who's saying that?
It's them saying that. It's
right.
That's
so report. I want to see that allegation in writing. Is that anywhere?
Yes, I have it right here.
Did DCF investigate?
Mm-hmm. They did a drug test as well. This is my drug test showing that I do not do drugs at all. And it's the same report that's on the injunction.
Did you call DCF on
that
her?
they filed?
The Department of Children and Family Services?
No, they called me while I was at work.
Yeah, but they had to be calling you back. They don't know you. How did
we don't even know how they got our phone number. They called me at work, blowing up my phone, and looking for my mother as well.
Okay, but you have to be filing a complaint for them to even be alerted. How were they alerted?
They was calling me because my son was alleged of what was going on in her home with the smoke.
Can I see the original? I want to see something original that says, I did drugs at her house for a week.
Well, the only thing that we have is the phone number of calling her, and that he admitted to her when he went to go see her, when she went to go see him and speak to him.
That what? That he smoked pot with the daughter, or that she was giving him mollies? Which is it?
I never said that she smoked mollies. She's making this up. I said that he was doing marijuana in her home. That's what I did state, because that's what he stated to me. Now, the mollies and drugs, unless you have it in black and white that Jerisa said it, Jerisa did not say that about Rashonda.
How about you? Did you tell the Department of Children and Family Services that she was doing drugs with a minor?
That call came to me. I was in church. DCF called me. They had an allegation of a call of someone saying that Rashonda had underage minors giving them drugs and alcohol. And
right. Who placed that call? Because she thinks it's you guys. Because you guys have a constant war. You guys are using the justice system as weapons against each other. And now you're in my court, each of you making allegations against the other one, and you expect me to be able to figure this out. Because the only thing I see in writing is I suspect it was them, if someone said that. What have you got in your hands? What have you got?
Their injunction that has the same statements from DCF.
Let me see that.
This is a part of my injunction. Their statement.
I'm sorry, what do you mean your injunction?
Their injunction they filed on me with
Yeah.
the same statements is on that DCF, but they're saying it didn't come
What is
from
this
them.
piece of paper?
She hand wrote that, and it's attached to my injunction.
May I see
Hold
that
on.
as
Is
well?
this something that you
I can't see it. I cannot
Okay,
tell
is this
that.
something that you hand
keeps
wrote
saying they. Who was they?
attached to the injunction?
And this is why I started doing
No, this is not none of me.
doing legal
I'm
things.
sorry. Is that something you wrote or isn't it? That was part of the injunction.
This is stuff added I did not have on there.
So that's not your handwriting?
No, ma'am. At that bottom,
That's it.
that-
I added notes on the side, but the printed
I'm sorry,
portion is
who
all
wrote
her.
that?
She wrote it, but on my notes to justify my case, I made little notes, which you can see.
I'm asking about the body of it.
She wrote it.
How
She
do you
wrote
know that she wrote it?
Because it came with that injunction stapled
Okay.
onto it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm not asking if you wrote
Yes,
this.
she knows
I'm asking if you wrote this.
They're playing
No,
games.
at the bottom, I did not.
I know that the bottom is something she added. I'm asking you if you... Give this back to her, please. If you wrote this.
So, you want to be a marketer. It's easy. You just have to score a ton of leads and figure out a way to turn them all into customers. Plus, manage a dozen channels, write a million blogs, and launch 100 campaigns all at once. When that's done, simply make your socials go viral and bring in record profits. No sweat. Okay, fine. It's a lot of sweat. But with HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools, launching benchmark-breaking campaigns is easier than ever. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
Imagine what's possible when learning doesn't get in the way of life. At Capella University, our game-changing FlexPath learning format lets you set your own deadlines so you can learn at a time and pace that works for you. It's an education you can tailor to your schedule. That means you don't have to put your life on hold to pursue your professional goals. Instead, enjoy learning your way and earn your degree without missing a beat. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
They've been
The
playing
first page, is that you?
The middle piece.
They've been playing games. So that's why I've been doing legal stuff, because they've been trying to legally take my life down. So I have to do legal stuff back. I never put an injunction on nobody before in my life. Been in the court system. I've never been to jail, juvenile, none of that. So that's why I'm doing it legally, because
Rashonda was on speakerphone with my underage grandson. This is an ongoing situation. She continues to pick up my grandson, and he stay with her a few days and weeks at a time without my consent. He is high off drugs and or alcohol when he comes back.
Yeah, because that's why I called the police and children's services. When they all came about...
Are you in communication with him by phone?
No, we was before when.
Yeah, you got to stay away from. You got to stay away from this. You know what I mean?
I told him that.
Enough
I
is
said,
enough.
I love
Just
you,
block
but I
him, and you
can't.
need to just stay away.
Yes.
You cannot harbor him anymore.
Oh no, I don't.
You know, he's got enough problems. They're gonna let their
Yes.
problems be their problems.
Yes, it is.
The next time, if he goes to your house, call DCF and have him taken into the system.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you are getting blamed
for everything.
Right. So you need to just let their problems be their problems. The police are called, the mentor is called, the case is open against her with child services. It has been found that Rashida is having a sexual relationship. With who?
Human trafficking.
Wait. With your underage grandson?
Mm-hmm. That's what the officer said.
What do you mean what the officer said? You talked to your grandson. Did your grandson say that?
No, first off, the officer questioned my son, and as they questioned him, they said it must seem like it's a sexual relationship.
I'm sorry, then why did you swear to a judge that it was a sexual relationship?
That never even went to a
Perjury.
judge.
Yes, it
Well,
did.
why did you say it? This did go to a judge.
It's
This is
attached
what
to
was
my
attached with the
judgment.
final judgment of
Yes.
injunction.
It is not. That is no, ma'am. Let me clear something up, please. Because that what she sent did not go in no final injunction. She don't even have a temporary.
Well, how does she have your handwriting on all this?
Because that was when I tried to put the injunction, the temporary injunction for myself, only me. Because they said do a separate one, only me against Rashonda.
Okay, then why are you talking about her having sex with your 14-year-old grandson?
Because that's what was told to me.
By who? Because your grandson says that didn't happen.
My grandson never told me that it never happened.
Well, then who could say that? Now you're telling me that the cops told you maybe, and then you put it in there as fact?
If I can answer the question.
Yeah, I want you to answer the question.
When it came to me, after they spoke to him, meaning the officer and children's services, they said this is deeper than what this is going to get blown out.
I'm sorry.
Something sexual
Who
going
told
on.
you she was having sex with a minor? Because that's what you put in here. And the minor didn't say that. So what are you saying? That the police are clairvoyant and they said it was. So if all the police said was this is deeper, you translate that into she's having sex with a minor?
The actual words was said to me,
and
that's what I went from.
They opened a human trafficking case in the DCF.
Wait, what?
They was doing a human trafficking. It's in
what
the
do you mean they opened a human
trafficking? The DCF, because of the allegations that came from them, it's in the paper you have, the first page. The last page is going to show no findings closed for human trafficking. That's what they said I was doing with him as well, and that I'm pregnant with his child right now. It's all
wait, where's
I'm
that?
gonna show you. Bring me the paper, please.
Good.
The
What does it say?
DCF.
I said it.
The DCF. They've been playing so many
What does it say?
mental
Jerisa
sick
Taylor
games
said it.
and
You
saying
keep-
my
you keep
one-year-old
saying that
granddaughter
Jerisa
is
said
being
this, Jerisa
molested.
said that.
Do you
Why
have
is
a
it black and
lawsuit
white?
against the mother?
I'm going to when I get home.
We're not saying I'm being falsely accused of something, but where does it say Jerisa Taylor said it?
They're in this
From the-
together.
from the
They do it
alleged person.
together.
I know you feel they're in this together. I feel they're in this together too. But in order to make a finding against the one person you've counterclaimed against, who is Jerisa Taylor, you have to be able to prove the things you're telling me that are awful are all the mother who you're not suing yet.
Human
I have
trafficking.
the things from Jerisa.
At the very bottom.
I have
They closed the case for human trafficking.
Can everybody stop talking at the same time?
The only one she let talk is her.
What did you say?
I said the only one you letting fully explain anything.
That's not true.
Well, ma'am, when I try...
Yeah, that's not true. It just looks like it's not going well for you. That's why you said that.
No.
Hand this over, please.
This has nothing to do with me. It's the call from DCF.
No indicator of human trafficking, no indicator of substance
on
abuse,
top
no
of that,
indicator of the
if I
other
have a
thing,
witness talking
blah,
about
blah,
me,
blah.
I can
What
say
I
what I
want to
want.
know is, do you have anywhere that Jerisa Taylor said something false about you? That's what I'm looking for, if you've got it, because that's what you're saying.
Yeah, I only have the DCF. That it doesn't put the name of the person who said anything.
Right, but what about in the restraining order? Did she make any false statements? Didn't she file against you in the restraining order?
Yes, she did file.
All right.
The only thing I have from her was when I went to court. And
what's this bet you thought blank was over, give me my money?
My money? She just wants money. Like, that's why she got an injunction in Florida, because you get $1,500.
From who?
From the court, because you fear your life is in danger, so you can relocate.
No, you don't.
You mean the courts give you?
Yeah, it's a program there that they have.
Oh, so
it's people who's in fear for their life, they give them relocation money.
But where does that say it's directed to Rashonda Vick? That's on my page because her witness
skinny
already is my
blank
friend.
legs host, shut up and worry about who gonna push your blank to next stop.
But ma'am, can we address the issue that she is calling me mentally unstable, and on top of that, the false allegation that she said that I can't be but near my son legally by law? Where would she get that information? Because that's not true either.
Well, probably because you don't have custody of him. Maybe that's
She
what
does have to be supervised. We've been friends for years. I've been in and out the hospital from panic attacks.
Everybody stop talking. Okay. Everybody stop talking. Miss Taylor, apparently you can dish it out, but you can't take it. I do see records of non-stop filing for injunction in both of your names against a lot of people. So you file for an injunction against her, but you don't like that she retaliates and fires back. You claim that her putting in an injunction that hasn't even been heard yet is a false allegation that you're mentally unstable. And that is her opinion, that you're mentally unstable because you have a jihad against her now that she doesn't understand, because she's got your mother, and clearly you and your mother do talk, saying things like she's having sex with a 14-year-old and, you know, all kinds of stuff. So, no, I'm not going to order her to pay you $5,000 for false allegations. You have an $8,000 counterclaim, but really the person you've proven it against is the mother, who you don't even have a lawsuit against. You have a lawsuit against the daughter. And the daughter, you know, I'm not stupid. I don't want you to think I'm stupid. It's just that I have to deal in proof when it's in front of me. And I know that they're the ones who called DCF on you, but I don't stop talking. But I don't stop. What part of stop talking was confusing?
Don't even worry about it. Because
Don't talk. Get out of my courtroom. Take him out.
Nobody worried about it.
The left.
They're nuts. And you need to stay a million miles away from them.
Oh, I am.
Right. So now you know you're not going to let that kid into your house. Whatever their problems are, stay their problems. Do not have any conversations with them. Stay the heck away from them.
I do. Thank you.
Okay? Because, yes, the next thing that could happen is that restraining order that the mother has against you, she can claim you violated it.
Yes.
So you need to be very, very clear that you have absolutely no contact with anybody.
Yes,
All
I
right.
moved because
I wish you luck, but for the reasons I've already explained, I cannot grant you any money on the counterclaim either. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Who are these people?
It's a 0-0 tie. Nobody gets anything. The plaintiff has been evicted from the courtroom. She's gone. The defendant, Ms. Vick, is on her way out of the courtroom now. Ms. Vick, what's your reaction so far to what you've just heard from the judge?
I'm happy because someone sees what I go through and what I've been going through with these people. There are a lot to deal with.
I mean, it's something else. Let me ask you, the judge gave you some advice
Yeah,
now.
to stay away.
Are you gonna listen to the judge?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm staying away, and I let my kids know, like, hey, cut off all communications and ties because it can get real nasty.
All right. Well, if you do that, maybe that'll bring some peace to your life.
I wish,
right?
but
Hopefully.
It's been on and off for years. If it's not one thing, they're going to try something else.
Well, listen, this case is over.
Okay.
Okay.
Have a good day.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay. Harvey?
So, Doug, this is an interesting case because part of this involves what is said in legal documents and in court. When we talk about defamation, there is an exception. You cannot sue for defamation, almost never, if the statement made was made in court or in legal papers filed with the court. That is an exception. Even if the statements are false, even if the statements cause damage to you, if they're in a court case, you can't sue for defamation. That may seem unfair on the surface, but the reason for it is judges want more information rather than less so they can sift through everything and find the truth.
Marilyn, have you ever thrown out a jury service summons?
No, are you kidding me? No, I would never do that. And not only that, when when family or friends call me and say, "Hey, can you get me out of jury service?" I spend 30 minutes lecturing them now.
Right. Of course, I did just get your jury service continued.
That's different. I was here taping, so they said, "Oh,
right.
And didn't they tell you, you want to skip her?" And you're like, "No,
right.
I'm never going to get picked on a jury because of my prosecutorial experience and
But you love going to the state courthouse.
I love going to the state, but that's not even that. I think of that, like I have not. Most of us will not fight for our country. It is the one thing that we have to do as civilized citizens is participate in the justice system, whether it's civil or criminal. And when people are weaseling their way out of it, what kind of juries do you think we have?
Well, remember, I wrote that article that was published in the Miami Herald about jury service.
About this.
Just because for the umpteenth time, I got a phone call from somebody saying, hey, can you get me out of jury service?
Unbelievable.
Right?
No.
And, of course, you don't want to get out of jury service.
No.
It's something you got to do.
It's something you should do.
I'm always reminded there was an old comic strip, Dilbert, where they show him at jury service with some other people, and one guy looks at him and says, jury service, jury duty. He goes, well, what's your excuse going to be? Because they're about to go in and see the judge, right? And he goes, I believe that jury service is our civic duty. It's the most important thing you could possibly do, short of serving in the military. The guy goes, Insanity.
Good one.
Good one, right? Exactly.
This is the plaintiff, Doria Berman. She says the defendant is her neighbor and they used to be pretty friendly. But then his unleashed dog attacked her dog Watson, injuring him something awful. Watson's tooth was fractured. She's out $1,037.43 in vet bills. And since the defendant refuses to pay in full, she's suing. This is the defendant, Michael. He says the plaintiff's dog, Watson, bit his dog on the nose. Now she's suing for a broken tooth? That's like if the plaintiff punched him in the face and broke her hand, would he be responsible for her injuries? He thinks not. He's accused of failing to control his dog.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff says her dog was nearly killed by the defendant's vicious dog and now the guy won't pay her vet bills. But the defendant says the plaintiff is trying to tack on extra charges he's not responsible for, and that just ain't right. It's the case of my dog is extra.
Okay, Ms. Berman, what happened?
Hi, I was walking my dog. I was actually with my 2 dogs, and my adult child was walking with me. The defendant drove by me in his car and parked in his driveway.
And were you 2 neighbors?
We are neighbors, yes.
And you've known each other for how long?
7 or 8 years.
Okay, go on.
Then his dog came running down the street towards me and my dogs. My dogs were on leash. His dog was not on leash.
Your stop, and say that more slowly.
Sure.
Were your dogs on a leash?
Yes.
Was his dog on a leash?
No.
He was unleashed?
Yes.
Okay, so he jumps out of the car, and what happens?
Runs down the street.
Okay, but how did the dog get out of the car? He must have opened the door for the dog.
Yeah. They had pulled into their driveway and were going into their own home.
All right, and so go on. The dog runs down the street.
Yes. Our dogs have an altercation. It lasted less than 30 seconds.
Had the dogs known each other before now?
Yes.
Have they ever had an altercation before?
They have, actually.
Okay, so these 2 dogs don't particularly like each other?
Correct.
Okay, so go on.
So I finished my walk because it was a 30-second altercation, and I didn't see any injury at the time. When I got home, I noticed that my dog's tooth was, leading out of his mouth. So, I called my vet. It was a Sunday afternoon, so my vet told me to go to the ER. The ER did a procedure there, but then told me I had to go to my regular vet to have the rest of the procedure done. And I did that. So meanwhile, while the defendant and I are talking, they said that they felt bad and gave me a check for the first ER bill.
Okay.
I did not cash it because on the check they wrote final payment.
Because by the time they wrote that check, you had already told them that there was going to be additional work?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So how much in total were you out? The $1,037.43?
Yes, and there was actually a little error. The receipt for the second bill was actually $589. I forgot a second page that had $1 and change in tax.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So let me hear from you, Mr. Michael.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
Yes, so just to clarify, we're not direct neighbors. We're probably 5 or 6 houses away, and it's more of a neighborly wave kind of thing, chit-chat. We have had altercations in the past, but I'll tell you about the story
dogs.
First.
The dogs?
Yeah. So
right.
We have, currently we have 2 dogs. One passed away in December. There was a fight between him and her dog last year this time, actually. But Daisy had gotten out before and approached, but again, she just approached and barked, and we were able to pull her back without any physical altercation between Daisy and Watson.
Right. Did you see, on the day of the incident, did you see that Watson was over there?
When we pulled in the driveway, they were probably 100 yards down the road. We pulled out of the driveway, and I have a minivan, so I opened the sliding back door. We have a new puppy as well. He's 7 months old. So I went to grab him first. Daisy typically does listen. She did see a squirrel, jumped out of the car and was starting to chase it, looked up and saw Watson, and then hightailed it down the street. She did come up and confront Watson. She was barking a lot. Watson was barking a lot. The plaintiff was trying to hold Watson back. Watson bit Daisy on the nose, and she hightailed it right back to us. I checked on Daisy's nose. She had a puncture on her snout. As the plaintiff walked by, I asked if he was okay. She said, yes, he's fine. I apologized for Daisy, and we went and treated her wounds. Later that night, she did contact my wife via Facebook, and we had a conversation, I believe the next day, on the phone. And we told her that, I used that analogy that actually a friend of mine at work gave me. That if, her and I were in an argument and she punches me in the face, then she's going to sue me for her broken hand.
Right.
Here's
the thing about that analogy. If you and the plaintiff are in an argument and she punches you, her act of punching you is the bad act that gets punished, right? Because she doesn't get to be violent and punch you. So that is very different from, yes, I know her dog bit your dog. I get it. But if your dog had not been running loose, her dog's tooth wouldn't be loose. You see what I'm saying? So
Yes.
why is she so far off? You guys in fact, you wrote up a check and said, here's a check for this, but this is full and final payment, because you didn't want to get into some, who knows how far this will go. But at the end of the day, though, the tooth is loose and a problem because your dog, because you didn't have your dog on a leash. Don't open the sliding door. Well, she was on a leash, but she wasn't in your control. Squirrel. Correct. Like, she just darted and she's out of your control. And then this problem happens. And in particular with, because you've said hello, that she's 100 yards away. And what? And you don't know that your dog can run 100 yards? Your dog can run 100 yards. So, you don't open the sliding door of the van until you are there to take control. And you must take control. But you can't do what you did. And I realized in your mind, well, how is this my fault? Her dog bit. But remember, we never punish the dogs for being animals, right? We punish the human behavior. Is your dog off leash? Did your dog get out of the yard? That's what we punish. The dogs are going to be animals. If a dog is coming at a 100-yard sprint at her dog is going to bite it. That's a normal reaction for the dog. So the question is, did her dog having to bite your dog because your dog got loose, did that make the tooth a problem? So let me hear from you on that.
Yep. So when we received the bill from the VCA, there was a note in there about existing gingivitis and existing moderate tartar. So on a 7-year-old dog, it doesn't make sense that his bottom tooth would bite on an 80-pound, 7-year-old healthy teeth of a dog shouldn't result in a loose tooth from a quick bite to my dog's nose. And if it was, our dog's nose should have been mush. So what you're saying is the dog must have had tooth problems before your dog got loose. There's a concept in the law, and it applies in this case as well, that you take your plaintiff as you find him. So if in fact you end up crashing your car against me and I have pre-existing back pain and you have now made my back pain unbearable, and now I need surgery. You can't say, hey, she might have needed the surgery at some point, so part of that shouldn't be my fault. No, the concept in the law is we can't possibly slice and dice like that. So if you have the misfortune of crashing into me, and I am an eggshell plaintiff. This has been litigated for 100 years. I am an eggshell plaintiff, meaning I crack easily, right? That's too bad, so sad for you. It's still caused by what you did. So no, it's the same thing with the dog. And again, tell your friend who gave you the analogy with the punch that would be great if if she was doing something wrong. And she is not doing anything wrong, failing to maintain control over her dog because she's holding on to the dog and she doesn't. It's your dog that goes into her space. And even if your dog stops a foot away, it doesn't matter. The looseness of your dog is what causes everything to go into play. So I'm ruling in favor of the plaintiff in this case in the full amount, $1,037.43.
So this is a pretty simple decision for the judge. The plaintiff prevails. She gets everything she was seeking, the $1,037. Michael, you're the defendant. It was your dog that was off the leash. You understand the judge's verdict? What are you thinking?
I understand her verdict. I was hoping that she would see that there might have been some pre-existing conditions. I understand that she's saying it's 100% our fault because the dog was off the leash, and we took that responsibility when we paid her for the initial ER visit. It doesn't make sense that his bottom tooth cracked on my dog's nose and there was just a little bite mark on her. But we'll follow her ruling and abide by it.
Yeah, well, the judge said your analogy just didn't work. Pre-existing conditions didn't matter in this case. You lower the $1,037. Okay, you're welcome. Ms. Berman, you're going to get the money. How you feel?
I'm happy with the verdict. I do want to add that I did submit the dog's medical records from his physical in November, and there was a comment that said good teeth right in those records, too. So he didn't have a pre-existing condition anyway.
Well, he had something because the vet did put that in the report, something about some kind of problem with his mouth, right? All right. By the way, how is your dog now?
He's good. He's now missing 3 teeth, actually, but he's recovered.
Missing 3 teeth. Well, take him to the dentist, okay? All right. Thank you very much. Congratulations, you have prevailed. Okay, Harvey?
Doug, in most states, dog owners cannot get pain and suffering for their animals when they're injured like this. I will say the law is changing. It used to be the dogs were just treated as property. More and more states are not treating them as such, although pain and suffering is really an exception rather than the rule when it comes to animal injuries.
Who buys the groceries, and what's something that you get every single time you go to the grocery store?
I think we both do. We kind of share that.
I agree.
It was different when you were working in the courthouse and you never had free time, but now we
have no excuses anymore.
Yeah, you run out of excuses, pal. Your honey-do list is right in your face. But I think we kind of share that. And the thing what do we always get? Eggs, half and half.
Yeah.
Because I drink a lot of coffee.
Else gets. Although the one thing I always want to get, but it's kind of
blueberries. You have this obsession now with the blueberries.
Right, but it's like I can't delegate that to other people because
we're all idiots and we don't know how to
only I can identify the best blueberries.
You have been known to go twice in one day to the grocery store if the blueberries were particularly good. You go back and you buy 2 more cartons and wolf them down like they're candy.
I know, but you know what's really bad about the berries? Back in the old days, they'd have these little pints or half pints of stuff, and you could maybe try one. Those days are gone.
Yeah.
And now it's like, if you're going to try one, you'd have to snap the thing open and hope nobody's looking.
Hope nobody's looking because you're a jerk because of COVID.
And you're not supposed to do that. Not that I would ever do that.
Oh.
But, I love berries. What can I say?